Welcome to the IEP Launchpad, Social Stories from School to Adulthood, a podcast dedicated to empowering young adults with disabilities. I'm your host, Barbara Beck, and I'm joined by my co-host, Darien Watson.
Hello, everyone.
As part of our Launch Buddies media class, we will be sharing inspiring stories and insights from our peers who have overcome communication barriers and achieved success.
That's right, Barb. We'll be diving into topics like empowerment, inclusion, and self-advocacy, all through the power of social stories.
Absolutely, Darien. Join us on this journey as we celebrate the unique experiences and perspectives of our Launch Buddies class.
So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's dive into some amazing stories.
All right. Well, you guys, welcome to our first ever podcast, episode number 1. We're going to be talking about personal stories and communication styles today. And I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Barb Beck, and this is Darien Watson. He is our co-host ongoing, but I don't know, someday this is going to be Darien Watson, the host of the podcast, or it might be Andrew, our podcast host. All right. Mm-hmm. Or you could be the host at some point as well. But I'm so excited to start this podcast with you guys. It's our episode number 1, where we're going to be talking about the scripts that you've already written in preparation for today. So this week we went on to Google Classroom, is where we're collecting all of our stuff, all of our things that we're writing, our stories, our thoughts, and what we want to express to help others see what it's like to live life with disability and to navigate all of the social connections that we have, to integrate into work, to participate and have inclusive opportunities out in the community, right? And so you guys are doing such an amazing job. I am so proud of you. And so today we're going to talk about our preparation for what we're going to be doing next. In our next hour together, we're going to be filming the videos that you've prepared for this week with your scripts. So I think most of you have a script written, and if not, you'll have an opportunity to work on that script in a little bit, okay? So this week I was thinking about the things that we'll be talking about, and I was thinking through each of your personal stories, because we did some work already in it was a Google, I think it was a Google form. Was it a Google form, or was something else, an assignment I gave you to be able to tell your personal story? What was your childhood life like? And what was your young adult life like, right? What was it like for you going through school, graduating, and then getting into adulthood? Some of our launch buddies aren't yet graduated. I know Bryce is graduating this year, which we're so excited for that.
Very exciting.
It is. And so maybe we'll be able to celebrate with him and cheer him on as he goes into graduation. And then we're excited for him for life after high school, right? But you guys have all gone through that, haven't you?
Yeah. We have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me hear a little bit about your personal story, because that's what we're going to be talking about. Our plan for today is, what's your personal story and what is your best mode of communication? So a little bit about your personal story. I'm going to start with Darien, since he's our co-host, and let's talk a little bit, Darien, about what we're doing here, how you are experiencing Launch Buddies, and then we'll have you start talking about your personal story, and then we'll talk to Jay about her personal story just for a little bit, and then we'll move on to Andrew, who has also written a pretty amazing script today about his communication style. I really, really loved seeing the post that you put in Google Classroom. I got to see it last night and read through it, and I'm like, man, that is so amazing. So I loved the work that you did.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So Darien, why don't you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Launch Buddies, and then just share a little bit about your personal story so we can get to know you.
With pleasure. So my name is Darien, and I am thrilled to be with Launch Buddies.
Good.
I've learned a lot, come a long way, and learned new skills and abilities, and it's incredible. Experience so much self-growth, and we all, yes, write scripts, and we prepare, and we set up equipment. We get everything ready so we can share content out to you guys, so that we want to add something to everyone.
Right. I think getting your perspective of what it is like living with, some challenges, there's some barriers and hurdles to get over in life,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And so can you tell a little bit about that? Some of the challenges maybe you've had as a kid growing up, right? What was it like life as you grew up and you're kind of like, hey, there's some barriers maybe to communication or just how you're functioning or interacting with people. Can you tell a little bit about that experience for you as
Of,
a kid?
of course.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up, the journey was a journey, of
Okay.
course. But I will say this, it was, fitting in wasn't really a thing for me because I was different. I was treated differently.
Hmm.
Um, I was accepted, of course. Teachers helped me to get to where I am now, and I'm thankful for that.
Right.
It's just with certain students, and I guess I'll say I dealt with quite the majority where I wasn't really, a part, and they
Why do you think that was?
probably I would say I did things differently. Like I focused on, it started when I was 14,
Okay.
and I started, wanting to add to people's lives and
Yeah.
really contribute to everybody's well-being.
Yeah.
I just follow all the good basics, like the golden rule and things like that. I'm got on top of being, like a rule follower, and
Well, I know that you're a guy who really likes order.
exactly.
The way you kind of navigate your life and your day, just knowing where things are, keeping track of the order of things, I think
Right.
is really important to you. And structure is really important to you. Is that right?
Exactly.
How did that
I
play out as a child?
As a child, I know that I've grown into, routine. I know routine is very essential to me.
Yes.
So,
As an example, like Sunday, don't you do all of your meals for the week? Or
oh
you
yes.
you kind of have an order of things that you do that doesn't really change from week to week, does it?
No, it does not. I
Okay.
like to stay consistent. I know change kind of throws me off a little bit.
Right.
So,
Does it help for you to have kind of a written schedule or a visual schedule, something like that, or maybe you use that a little more when you were a kid and not so much now? What were some of the things that kind of helped you to navigate those kind of the way your brain operates? And is there something term you would call it, right, that maybe other people could relate to? Is there a condition or just how do you term what your condition is?
condition
I don't
as
know. I mean, that's kind of weird, right?
no, no,
Well,
no,
some
no.
people have autism spectrum disorder, or some
Exactly.
people live life with maybe a developmental disability, Down syndrome, or maybe they have other kind of things that they were born with that maybe part of that would be a communication disorder, or maybe a physical way that you kind of need to have some accommodations. Is there something that you would say as far as for Darien? Do you have a disability that you can name?
Of course, and I'm more than happy and open to share exactly what they are.
I think that's awesome and bold. Do you want to
And
share it?
of course I do.
Okay.
So I deal with anxiety and I have high functioning autism.
Okay.
And dealing with these things, I pay attention to the key factors and what I can do to what I need to do to manage them and what I can do to improve.
Okay.
And this is where I am right now in life is nothing to be ashamed of. We all deal with something. The thing about having a disability is we think that, we're not like the norm.
Mm,
And the thing is, the norm has something they struggle with as well.
it's
Some people have a
interesting.
way of hiding it and,
Right.
not showing it. And, I've I've learned that being vulnerable is where you get your boost of strength right there.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I love about the videos that you do, that you talk a lot about mental health and anxiety and overcoming those things. And like you said, being really bold and being very vulnerable, and how important that is for other people to do the same thing, so we can all learn from each other. And I think I'm going to highlight what you said a little bit about the norm, right?
Exactly.
Is there a norm?
No. Everybody,
I
well,
guess I mean, I
well,
don't know. Let's talk about that.
actually, well, yeah, let me not jump the gun. The norm is, like things that we expect, like things that, are, as of the ordinary,
Would we say typical?
typical,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
But the one thing we see that is, like not typical or, out of the ordinary, sometimes we judge and criticize and
Yes.
we kind of exclude,
Mhm.
shut out. And I'm talking as in people, and it's just that that's not healthy.
Right.
That installs division
That's right.
and it installs social exclusion. These things are not good for our community. And I get it. These are not, like certain things out of the ordinary are not typically what we are used to,
Right.
but we have stuff about us that's, like of the norm. Everybody has something, everybody has a situation, everybody has
Yeah.
something about them that's either, like a challenge or a struggle or something good or a strength.
That's right. I love focusing on your strengths, your abilities, your preferences, and how all of those things play into who you are and how you express yourself. And I think you do such an amazing job of expressing yourself. I love this opportunity to share, have you be a co-host on our podcast, and thank you for sharing that perspective. And we're going to get much more into your perspective and how through communication that from I don't care who you are, you have strengths, abilities, interests, and aptitudes that play in so well to the community around you. So that's what we're highlighting here on our podcast. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk with Jay. Jay, I am so happy you're here.
I
And
am too.
and thank you for joining us.
And today is my last day for a little bit.
You're not going to be with us here for the next few weeks. And
Actually, 4.
4 weeks.
Wow.
Okay. Yes. So, do you want to share about why you won't be here for a little while? If you're comfortable,
Yeah, it's totally fine.
go ahead and do that.
I'm going to be having heart surgery in a few weeks here.
Okay. And
And next week, I'm having a mapping procedure on Tuesday.
okay. So, a little bit about your condition is
I
it
have tetralogy of Fallot.
which means
My right side is bigger than my left, and I only have 3 heart valves. I was born with a hole in my heart, and they took a piece of the cardio sac and patched it.
wow.
Wow.
That is a lot for you to. How old were you in that
I was 9 months old.
at that point for your surgery? And so you've lived your life with a heart condition.
Mm-hmm.
And it has affected your daily functioning and
Mhm.
some things.
I also have a disability too.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. So do you want to share a little bit more about what your particular disability is?
I have fetal valve pro 8 syndrome. It's very rare.
Okay. Well, so what does that mean for you?
When my mom was a baby, when my birth mom was pregnant with me, she took medicine that caused.
Okay.
She wasn't supposed to.
Okay, I see. So the medicine affected you and
My development.
okay.
So that's what caused.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving us a little window into your life living.
Yeah, with my heart challenges, it's not easy.
Oh, I know.
No,
So
of course
can you
not.
name 3 things that really are not easy for you? So what would be the first?
Probably exercise.
Okay. Exercise is really difficult.
Yeah.
What's the second?
Getting around.
Yeah. Just mobility?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would be the third thing?
Maybe breathing a little bit.
Okay.
It could be a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get kind of
Because imagine what it's like only having 3 heart valves.
I can't imagine
can't
what
either.
that.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, you guys. And
It's tough.
it is. Yeah. So when you, I love that you're willing to communicate some really personal things about your health, and not everybody is as bold to share. And some people are much more private about, and there are laws to protect privacy around
Mhm.
around
course.
health. Right? You can't go around talking about somebody else's health, sharing somebody else's health records. have you heard of HIPAA laws?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Right?
have.
So you have to be really careful. And and if that is your personal preference to share, you are the only one. And I actually asked your mom too if it would be okay
Yeah,
if
it's
you
fine.
shared this on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But that's true. We have to be very aware of privacy around people's medical conditions. If they want to share, great, but we do not pry into that, right?
Mm-mm.
So thank you for welcoming
Can I talk
us.
about my disability a little bit?
Go ahead.
So math was a challenge growing up for me.
Okay, why?
Numbers I have trouble with.
So I'd imagine in math class that would be really difficult.
Mhm.
What are
It
some
was.
supports that you had in math class?
I was in special ed groups in school.
Okay. Special ed groups in school.
Mhm.
And did you have some teachers that you really
I did.
Who were tell me about one of
Miss
your
Johnson was my favorite
Oh, Miss
teacher.
Johnson. Thank you, Miss Johnson. What did she do for you?
She helped me a lot.
How?
With math and reading. Reading was a little bit of a challenge too.
Okay.
I got my words mixed up.
Can I give you a secret?
What?
I needed help in math too.
Really?
A lot
So
of
did I.
You did, Andrew.
Amazing.
I can't wait to hear your story too about supports that maybe your journey growing up in school, what that felt like. You did a really great video on, we'll get to in a minute, talking about your personal story, but you have a great video out there about your journey through school, how you felt and things like that. If you have not, if our listeners haven't seen that video, please check that video out, and we'll link to it in the show notes today. But that's a really great video that we want to make sure to highlight. Let's go back, Jay, to your discussing about your disability, right?
So math was a challenge.
Okay, math and reading was a challenge as well.
Reading, like half and half with reading.
Why half and half?
Because I sometimes got my words mixed up.
Okay.
And I sometimes read too fast.
Yeah, so slowing down a little
Mhm.
bit and getting some strategies for reading.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I also had a little trouble with times tables.
Do you like reading?
Not really.
Can I tell you one thing that you're really good at with reading here with Launch Buddies?
What?
You guys all write scripts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we
course.
take the scripts that you write and we put it on, we make sure we read it, understand what we're going to say. When we shoot our videos, we have to have read through what we've written. You're really good at that. And I appreciate how hard was it? Mrs. Johnson, you said?
Mm-hmm.
She did a good job of teaching you
She
some
did.
strategies to read, because that's showing up here in your adulthood.
Time was also a little bit of a struggle,
Okay.
but I eventually got it.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then I also had a little trouble making friends.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about socially what that was like.
Because I didn't really feel like I made connections with certain kind of people and other people with disabilities. I had certain interests other people didn't.
Okay. Like what?
Like TV shows that some kids didn't have interests in.
okay.
So that was kind of hard.
Right.
I've always had that struggle.
That you're interested in things that people just don't really connect to as
Mhm.
well as you do. But
Yeah.
you have a great video out there about Comic-Con.
I know. And a lot of people go to that.
And if you haven't seen that video and
Thousands
you're listening,
of people go to that convention.
they do.
Not even
Yeah.
kidding.
So that's one of those ways that you've connected with people over your interest areas, right? Maybe you didn't have that opportunity in school. People were
No.
like, well, it's not, right? But now in adulthood, you have found your place. You had a phrase that you used in your video, right? And it was like, it's where
They get to be their geeky selves.
get to be their geeky self.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So people should find that place where you can be your geeky self.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Andrew because we've got lots more opportunities to talk, but I love how you shared about...
I'm going to miss you guys, though.
miss
we're
you
going to
too.
miss you too.
But
Thank
I'll be
you.
back.
Yes, you will be back. And
And a lot stronger.
you're going to be
That's the
stronger.
spirit.
That is, and you're going to be stronger. Hopefully you're going to be able to breathe better, right?
That's what I'm
stronger,
hoping for.
breathe better, be able to move around better. Those 3 challenges you said
Yep,
really affect you and
exactly.
your experience in your adult life, right? Thank you so much. We're going to shift gears over here to Andrew. Hey, Andrew,
Hi.
how's it going?
Tired.
Are you tired today?
Yeah.
So I know you had an energy drink. Do you need to go get it?
No.
Okay. But we're so glad you're here. I'm thrilled that you're part of Launch Buddies and excited to hear from you today. And I know one of our things that we're talking about is your personal story of life growing up. Both Darien and Jay were really free to talk about kind of their experiences with disability growing up and how they felt. Can you share a little bit about your personal story and your life that kind of from the video that you did too? But are there things that you could highlight for our listeners today?
I guess I had a hard time in school growing up
Okay. Why is that?
because I have math learning disability and autism, so no one really wanted to be around me except for one person.
Oh, wow. Who was your friend that you really connected with?
I don't talk to him
Oh,
anymore, but
and you may not want to share on
Yeah.
the podcast, right? But that's okay. You did make a friend. Did you have any teachers who?
most of my teachers when I was in elementary and middle school were really mean to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? And that really saddens me. It sickens my heart to think that you experienced that from from your teachers, because I've been a teacher. This is my 28th year in teaching.
wow.
And
Wow.
I've known a lot of teachers, and I've had a lot of students in special education. And to think that you didn't get what you needed from school really makes me sad, and I'm sorry about that. Tell me did things ever change for you in school?
Not completely, but middle school was a little better.
Okay. Why is that?
There was one teacher I had that was really cool. I don't want to say his name,
Okay, that's fine.
but he was just a cool teacher.
All right.
Yeah.
What's one thing that your cool teacher did that really made a difference for you?
He did a lot of cool stuff. Like he was like an archery guy.
Okay.
He had like katanas in the back room, like fake katanas.
Oh, really? Okay. And what did he teach specifically again? Was he a special ed teacher?
It was all sorts of different stuff, but for me it was math, I think.
Okay. Okay. Good. So he helped you a lot with math. Do you feel like you're a little bit better at math because of him?
No.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, he gave a good effort, sounds
Yeah.
like, right? Okay. Well, so we talked a little bit about how things were for you socially and with your teachers and the support that you needed as you got through high school, right? You graduated. What are some things that you find that has really helped you as you've navigated your disability of autism? What helps you?
Just having help, just anyone to show support.
Okay. I think that's one thing that I love about our group is that we are all very supportive of each other. At least I hope that you feel that way. That's the intention of our group together is that we offer no matter what you come with. If you have, some areas of development or change or growth that you need to, pursue. Some people are really strong in certain areas, and some people have areas that we're going to grow in, and we can help each other and balance each other out with our strengths, right? And some of our weak areas. So that's what I love about this. I do know that you wrote a very cool script about how you communicate and some of your barriers to communication. Do you want to share that with us? Just a little bit about what your script was this week.
Yeah, it is basically about how I have a hard time, like, people judge me when I talk to them, like, if I don't know them, like, when I stop to get gas or something.
Okay.
I just have to, prepare myself to, I got to act normal in front of the cashier and stuff.
Do people interpret how you are a little bit differently than you intend? What happens in those situations?
They think I'm rude. I can just tell. Like, they just kind of look at me weird.
Yeah.
That happens all the time for a lot of times for me.
That must not feel very good.
Yeah, no.
And I think one of the things that you said in your script, and if you're listening and you haven't seen this video yet, check it out. It's really powerful. And one of the things that I think stood out to me the most about your script is that you talked about, going to pay for something and the way you kind of interact, or maybe your eye contact or lack of eye contact, people interpret that as you being rude.
Yeah.
And so it makes it difficult then to probably feel how you should feel in that situation. And then it feels maybe awkward for them, but terrible for you because you're trying really hard.
Yeah.
Right? So that effort, you're making a lot of effort to put yourself out there a lot of times, right? But it's not always received the way you intend. So check out that video if you haven't seen it. That's an encouragement for everybody. We love talking about communication here, and we'll be continuing these discussions, and we're going to be talking about not just our personal stories, but also, personal stories and communication is today, but we're also going to be talking about your personal dream that you have. We'll talk about the preferences that you have for life, like music that you like or concerts that you like to go to, or, what you want to do for a career, right? I know, Darien, don't you have some dreams for things that you want to do in the future?
Well, I do. I'm aspiring to become a motivational speaker and to pursue acting.
That's amazing.
As well. Hopefully make it to Hollywood. But the whole entire goal with those two careers, I know 2 careers at the same time. I know one at a time, but you know what? The purpose of these 2 careers is to make differences, make an impact, and just make the world a better place.
Right. And I think just using your voice and being who you are makes the world a better place. And that's why we want to put the spotlight on you guys to have you tell your story, to share your preferences, to tell about what you want to do to encourage people through motivational speaking or whatever that is. And then also, what is that transition as you move along into adulthood? Are you driving? Yes, you are driving.
I am driving now.
That's right.
It's incredible. I didn't think I'd be where I am in now
Really?
in life. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I look back and, nervous Nelly Darien, like it's crazy how
Not
long.
anymore. You're like
No,
driving
and
around
it's
town.
Crazy. It's just amazing how much evolution has taken place. And, that just gives you more encouragement for more evolution along the way. Like there's greater things along the road,
Right.
So.
We have some of our launch buddies who are just accepted into college, and we'll have Ari is on our camera right now. She's manning the camera. She just got into Judson University. And so we're going to be following her journey along, but, supported opportunities for you guys. You're driving. Ari's going to go off to college.
I'm launching on to get my surgery.
You're launching on to get your surgery,
Mm.
launching into new health situations, right?
I don't have any dream plans right now. I think our main focus is for me to get my...
That is enough of a focus, girl.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that's enough of...
For now, let's get through that part. That's
Yeah.
a big, huge deal. So
Yeah.
we're going to be walking with you through that journey. And we just appreciate so much you being willing to share about it. So awesome. Launching into new health, launching into hopefully a career that is exactly what you want to be doing, right? You have a fantastic job right now, and you have been so consistent for 6 years.
I have
Right?
a
It's
fantastic
been-
job too.
You do. And Darien, I know you do a lot for them because of your skills and abilities and interests. You're really good with numbers and things like that. So today,
Data entry analyst.
yeah, thank you for saying that
No
for me.
problem.
And
Honestly,
Darien and I have almost been at our jobs for 6 years.
Both of you, long-term employment,
That's
excellent,
right.
and rare in this world.
And I work at Ages downstairs in activities directors department.
So if people don't know, Aegis is a senior living
Yeah,
place where you participate with the
I do
residents.
activities and I work in the office. I prep work. I organize. I do silverware. I do a
Wow,
lot.
you do a lot. And
do.
I can tell you.
I also started doing daily sheets on the computer.
Okay.
So
Really?
I've started to do
So you're
computer
learning
work.
new tasks as well. So, and then I know that they love you there because
They do.
you shared a card where
Yes.
they gave you a
And they gave me flowers and a Squishmallow plushie.
oh, so sweet.
Amazing.
Yes, and so they gave you a card to get well card, a good wishes card, and things like that. Everybody wrote a note, and that was so encouraging.
And I deserve it.
You do.
I do.
Yeah, well, you work hard for them for 6 years, and
We're approaching 6 years.
you're getting there. Okay,
In
so-
June.
in June.
exactly.
And then you are in the process of looking for kind of a new job or a new opportunity. But Andrew, you've been driving for a while. That's something that you're continuing to practice and get used to, and getting around in the community. That's awesome too.
I'm scared to drive. I kind of get distracted.
And maybe you'll get over that someday. That's part of your personal growth, right, Jay?
Yeah.
So, and Andrew, what is one thing that you want to be working on and moving into in the future?
Just trying to get a good job.
And
Yeah.
so you're going to be launching into a new job as well. And we've got a lot more to talk about on our Launch Buddies podcast. So IEP Launchpad, here we go. We just finished our first experience together. You guys did such a great job. Thank you for all of your input. Thank you for sharing your personal stories. It's not easy to be that vulnerable, but I appreciate it so much. So thank you, and have a good week until next time that we do this and we get to share a little bit more with our listeners.
Thank you, Barb.
Next time
Thank
you
you.
see me, I'll have a new heart valve.
Next time we see you, you'll have a new heart valve. That's
I
so
know.
awesome. Okay. All right. And that's it. See you later, you guys.
Bye.
We'll
Bye.
see you later.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the IEP Launchpad. We hope you found these stories inspiring and empowering.
If you want to learn more about our Launch Buddies media class and access additional resources, be sure to visit www.mykeyplans.com.
That's right, Darien. You can find helpful lesson plans for teachers, books to create your own transition portfolios, social stories, and more on our website.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for video posts, behind-the-scenes content, and our Buddies life updates.
Absolutely. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the IEP Launchpad, social stories from school to adulthood.